Welcome to Personal Injury Law Unwrapped with Randy Ferguson.
Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Personal Injury Law Unwrapped with Randy Ferguson. I am your host, Kevin Rosenquist, and today we're diving into an issue that's becoming increasingly prevalent, which is social media and how it can derail your personal injury case. In today's episode, as usual, we're joined by attorney Randy Ferguson, a seasoned personal injury accident attorney in Huntsville, Alabama, and we are going to break down everything you need to know about how social media could impact your case. Randy, great to see you again.
Thanks for having me.
So social media, it's got its good and it's got its bad, but it definitely can get people into some trouble. So how has the rise of social media changed the way personal injury cases are handled?
They can really mess up a case. And it not only, in personal injury, but in a lot of different practices of law. It's made it easy for people to go out there and see things you've published. I have clients on the other who have posted pictures of their cars and saying, well, it wasn't really damaged or it's not bad. And, I wasn't hurt. And then they go to the doctors and run up thousands of dollars in bills. And it's very dangerous because everything that you do online is out there and it can destroy your case. Even if you're being honest and you got a good case, you can really mess yourself up really bad.
Do you advise clients to try to just stay off social media during the course of a personal injury case? I mean, it's hard to do that, I suppose, but it's probably for the best.
There's nothing wrong with doing it if you're being honest and you're not hurting yourself doing something that just makes no sense. If you have a client in a workers' comp case or a car accident case or anything, and they say in their case, well, I'm hurt, I can't walk or anything, and then they're posting on Facebook, jumping into the swimming pool and running, and I mean, you can just destroy your case. Number one, you're not telling the truth on your case, which is not, you shouldn't do. And two, you're showing everybody out there that you're not hurt. The insurance companies know it, and they look at these things. They look you up. I mean, I've had case after case where they've got posts from Facebook, that you've posted showing you on vacation doing stuff that you said you couldn't do. So it's very dangerous if you're not telling the truth. It is a very dangerous thing to do on your case, any kind of case.
Yeah. And how do the insurance companies and the defense attorneys use the social media to gather information during an injury claim? I mean, they do a deep dive?
Oh, they do. They will go into your medical records. They'll look at your history. They'll look at all your social media and see if you were complaining. Today's a rough day and my back's hurting and stuff. So they can really a lot of times they can find out the problems you were having without getting your medical records by just going on your Facebook or people posting TikTok videos or something, just something, that's out there that they don't think will hurt them. So the insurance companies are smart and they'll search all your social media. And even in other kinds of cases, the police search social media and do stuff. So you got to be really careful. Social media can hurt you in a divorce. It can hurt you in personal injury, and hurt you in anything. Yeah,
I've done a lot of hiring in my day. And I remember when social media was first a thing, it was kind of like frowned upon to look at someone's social media, if you were going to be, thinking about hiring him or bringing him in for an interview. Now it's just common practice.
Oh, it's the best way to check and see what are these people really like? What are they posting? I've had clients on cases in the past when I was doing a lot more criminal where they'd go online and show these guns they had. And these were illegal guns against federal law. And they're in federal prison because they go online and show stuff that's illegal. I've had clients show bundles of money when they were dealing drugs. And they're showing it on social media. I mean, it's on personal injury, it'll ruin your case. But on every other kind of case, social media, it will just destroy your case.
I'm near Denver, and there was a story where this guy posted a YouTube video of how fast he rode his motorcycle from Denver to a city up north. And it was like he was bragging about how fast he got there, and he ended up he got arrested because people are like, hey, you just proved that you were going 120 miles an hour on a motorcycle down Route 70.
I had a client recently who had a motorcycle accident, and online it showed him going over 100 on his motorcycle, and it showed him lane splitting, going between cars, which is illegal in Alabama on a motorcycle. And he's trying to say, well, I drive very safe, and they've got all the videos of it. People just don't understand when you post things that you shouldn't be doing, it's going to come back and bite you at some point.
What about when people's profiles are private? Do the insurance companies have any leverage where they can say, "Hey, I want to be able to get in this"? Like, do they have any like can they subpoena things like that?
They can file discovery and they can require you to produce it and to get access to your social media. They can subpoena records. We see a lot of subpoenas for stuff like TikTok and those kind of things, even stuff, your text messages, your phone records. They can get pretty much anything that's out there that's relevant to the case.
Okay. So that's a good note for people listening or watching that just because you have your account set to private doesn't mean that you're safe to post whatever you want.
Yeah, and you got to be careful with who's on there. You'd be surprised how many people will call an insurance company up and say, "Hey, this person I know had an accident, but hey, they're posting all this stuff where they're running and playing on Facebook and they're acting like they're hurt to the insurance company." Your friends, your enemies, they will turn you in. And
wow.
So you don't know who's on your side. There's people that take that personal when you're trying to rip off an insurance company. And so, you're posting stuff, number one, that you're saying you can't do, and your friends are seeing it, but you'd be surprised how many friends will turn you in.
Wow, that's crazy. Makes you look.
Or relatives. Relatives will turn you in
maybe more so, depending on the.
They're jealous. They don't want you getting money for you not being hurt, and they'll call and they'll talk to the insurance company. They'll find out who it is, or they'll call the person that hit them, and they know, and they'll tell them.
Wow.
So you got to be very careful. And again, if you're not hurt, don't say you're hurt and then start posting stuff showing you're not hurt.
So do you have when you do a consultation or when you are hired by somebody for a case, do you talk about social media with them? Do you talk about like, "Hey, stay off of this, don't do this, these kind of posts you got to avoid"? Is that a conversation you have?
Yeah, workers' comps, I'll tell you, they will follow you. They send out people to follow you. They'll watch you mowing your yard. They'll watch you walk into the mailbox. In a workers' comp, we tell them, look, everything you do, they will film. And so on workers' comp, we always tell them, and in most of the cases, it's a very clear workers' comp injury, but sometimes with back injuries and stuff, they're not. If you say you've got a hurt back and you're out running in the yard, it's a problem. And so we tell everybody in workers' comp, car accidents basically say, look, don't put anything on the internet about your car accident or vacations or anything you're doing while you've got this case pending. And there's a lot of stuff you can post on social media that has no relevancy to your case. We see all these people posting everything from pictures of their food, pictures of their grandkids or whatever. Hey, that's okay. Don't put anything on there about you or anything while this is going on there.
How often do people not take your advice?
Most people listen and they pay attention. I find it just some people just like to post everything, and they're like, "Well, I don't think anybody's going to say anything about it." But most people do listen.
Yeah.
The problem we have is people get to us after they've messed up, and it's hard to fix stuff when you've already messed it up.
That's an interesting point. So you're saying that like they've already been posting about stuff before you even take on the case.
Yeah. In every kind of case. It's with my sister, who's a divorce and bankruptcy attorney. People post stuff in their divorce, stuff they should never post. Same thing with personal injury. They post, pictures and stuff, and they're hurt. And it's the day after the accident, and they're at the beach, and it's like, you can't fix that kind of stuff. And again, if they're not really hurt, we shouldn't have to fix it anyway. They shouldn't be saying they're hurt.
Yeah, they shouldn't be doing that in the first place, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's just some people that it's almost like an addiction, right? They just can't not post what's going on in their lives.
Some people, that's all. They have no friends anymore. Yeah. It's gotten to a point where people don't socialize and go out and do stuff. Most of their people they talk to and stuff is online, and so they've got to post it. It's just hard to get some people to stop.
Do you have any examples of situations where social media helped or hurt a case?
With car accidents, we've had pictures of people posting stuff they're doing, and again with their car, and that then they're trying to say their cars are totaled and stuff, and they're driving them around, and they've got pictures posted of their car and them somewhere, and they're saying the car's not drivable. We've had people who, in some cases where my clients hit them, and my client comes to me and didn't have insurance, and normally we're on the other side, but we've gone on and got stuff off the other people's social media where they're saying, I was in an accident, but I'm okay, I wasn't hurt. And so we go on and check with anybody who's pointing the finger at one of our clients saying they contribute or something and see what they're posting. And it can really help your case.
Workers' comp was the one that you think is most affected by social media posts. Is that what you were saying before?
With insurance in a workers' comp, they hire a lot of investigators because, if you get injured in a workers' comp, your medicals are paid for life for that injury. So, that can be a lot of money. So what they do is they will have people just, go to the grocery store. They'll watch them going out to the mailbox, a lot of times mowing their yard, push mower and stuff. And so, we tell them, look, do what you can do. We don't have a problem with you doing what you can do. Don't get out and overdo it because they're going to show that you can do it, even though it's hurting you a lot. Don't get out there and do that because it looks like you're not hurt at all. But in most injuries, you have shoulder surgery, back surgery, stuff like that. They're not going to do that because the injury is clear on an MRI or a CAT scan or a myelogram or whatever it is. But, injuries where you say, my back hurts and you don't need surgery and I can't walk, and then you're out there walking and stuff, they will follow you, and workers' comp's worse than any case.
Why is that worse than any case? Is there more fraud in workers' comp? Is that why there's more investigation?
There's a lot of fraud there, and especially up north in some of the bigger cities, Chicago and whatever. There's been, people will go to chiropractors who are not really treating, and they got deals cut with attorneys, and you see all this kind of stuff. So they think everybody everywhere cheats, workers' comp and stuff. And so it's just kind of a policy those companies do. When you're looking at lifetime medicals, prescriptions and stuff. I've got clients who are hurt where they're having to pay medicals and prescriptions at $25,000, $30,000 a year. And a 40-year-old person, average lifespan 30 something more years, that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
So, they have a good reason to do that because they can save tens of thousands on one case.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned Chicago. I'm originally from Chicago, and I used to manage hockey rinks, and I got deposed one time because there was a workers' comp situation where they thought the guy was playing hockey at the rink while he was making these claims of workers' comp. And so, yeah, I had to get involved with that too. So I'm not necessarily surprised to hear that that's one of the main ones that social media affects.
Yeah, it's bad, but I think a lot of people look now and say, some people just don't want to work. They just don't want to work anymore.
I'm not going to say anything too much, but I think that was this case.
People just kind of get used to government, people giving them money, and, if they can just get out of working, and it's been a big problem. It's been a problem worse since COVID, that it's hard for businesses to find anybody that wants to work. And so you do have people who just want to have an accident. They have an accident and then they just want to retire from it. Unfortunately, if you're not really hurt, it's, those kind of scams just ain't gonna work anymore.
It'll come out.
Insurance companies understand. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're not dumb. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So when it comes to social media and, what people, are there certain platforms that you find it's more, I don't know, get people in more trouble, or is it just sort of the same across the board?
I really see a lot more with Facebook, which is more person to person, that kind of stuff, than Instagram. You have a lot of young people on Instagram. You have a lot of businesses advertising type stuff on Instagram. You don't see as much on TikTok. So, Facebook's been the biggest problem that we've seen because everybody thinks, well, we're just friends, everybody posting stuff. And so they don't think about it as much. A lot of your TikToks are people doing either makeup stuff or kids dancing and doing stuff. And it's not as much just kind of person to person like Facebook is.
If there were anyone listening who maybe has a personal injury case that they need and they think that they might have screwed up on social media, do you say, hey, come sit down, talk to me, we'll go over it and see if there's anything we can do? Or is it sort of like, you've kind of screwed up, there's not much we can do for you?
It's hard to fix. It depends on the type of injury, but it's hard to fix. Some people will do it and they'll say, well, now they're saying I'm not really hurt, but it's one shoulder's hurt and you're out throwing a baseball and it's not the same shoulder. that you're saying is hurt, but they're like, well, if you're out there doing that, you're not really hurt. It's hard to fix something you've done. It's like giving a statement and then coming to court saying, oh, well, that was a mistake. I didn't mean that. It's hard to, especially if you go in front of a jury, and workers' comps aren't with juries, but if you go in front of a jury and you've changed your story, it's hard to fix. It really is.
Yeah, especially if you've changed your story and the defense can go, oh, and by the way, here's some pretty hard proof of how that story changed.
Yeah, and especially if you've been interviewed by an insurance company, or if you posted on Facebook, it's hard to come in and say, "Oh, I was just kidding. That's not real."
Yeah.
When you've messed up, sometimes it's not fixable.
Are you on social media? Do you like social media?
I hate Facebook. I mean, I've got it, and I get, I do, I look at sports stuff.
Sure. From
the University of Alabama, where I went. And, and I've got friends that post stuff, but I get so many advertisements on it now. But I really don't post. Our office, we post law things, but so many people post pictures of their food and their dinner and their, I'd much rather see pictures of I do stuff with like dogs and stuff like that on, that I'll see with these different groups that take care of dogs. But besides, I post nothing really personal almost at all. I don't. TikTok, never. Our office has Instagram again. I don't post it, but Instagram's great. I have kids in college and med school, and their friends post stuff and their kind of stuff, but I really don't like to post stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you for the most part. No.
Yeah, I really don't have any interest in what somebody's doing for dinner, and I really don't want to post pictures of what I'm having for dinner. I don't post much. You may post something that, hey, Christmas, or during things, or post little stuff like have a great Easter, everybody, or whatever. But I really don't care to tell everybody what I'm doing in my life.
Understood. I'm the same way. I can't remember last time, if ever, I've posted anything of my food.
People just post. They post everything.
They sure do.
Yep.
Sometimes too much, as we've just been talking about. All right, well, thanks for tuning into Personal Injury Law Unwrapped with Randy Ferguson. To connect with Randy and the team, head to fergusonferguson.com. And please like and subscribe to our channel. Leave us a review. Randy, great chatting with you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.